Hello. I think we're live here. Let me see where we're at. Oh, look at that. It's working. All right. Hello, Mike. How's it going? Let me tilt this up a hair so you guys can actually see my pretty face. Happy Monday. Cheers. I'm drinking a glass of wine. Probably shouldn't have done that to my lens, but hey, whatever. Yeah, how was you guys' weekend? What you been up to? Mike, you're working on fine art. Are you working on Shutterstock? Hello, MJ Sasista. I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing today? I had a really nice weekend. My wife and I took the weekend and we did some wine drinking and food eating and not really thinking or worrying about anything else, and it was kind of amazing. Thank you, MJ. This is from the photo shoot I just did that my friend Noelle, you guys have seen her in some of my live and other stuff. We put this on, she put on this photo shoot, and this is from that photo shoot. So this is a group photo shoot. But what I was about to do actually was I wanted to do a comparison because, like, I really like Lightroom, but for one thing, and it really kind of pisses me off, and I've talked about this before, but the export. I'm so irritated by the fact that Adobe just has a terrible export for Lightroom. So I was actually about to do a bit of a test here, which is I'm going to see, even that's annoying. Like, look at this. Look at, I go to export this and it adds this string of garbage to the end of this file name. So, all right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to export this out to iCloud Drive, Affinity Photo, and I'm just going to do a raw edit on in Affinity Photo and compare it. What was the light setup of this photo? Okay, let's take a look at the light setup of this photo. This is four or five lights. I got to remember how I set this up. 4 lights. Okay, so 4 lights, all of them gelled, and you can actually see a few of the lights. So it'll actually be easier if I go over to Affinity because I can draw on here and show you where everything is. So I'm just going to dump a layer on there. Let's change this to a color that I can draw with. That'll work. Make this a hard brush. Okay, so here's the lighting setup. Here's light number 1 right here with a red gel on it. And that is causing this rim light here on the cape. And then we've got, that's also, yeah, the rim light on the cape, and it's also lighting up like the trees and the foliage right in this area here. So that's light number 1. Light number 2, you can not see quite so well, but light number 2 is tucked back here. In fact, right there is where it is. And light number 2 is green gelled, and it's up higher above light number 1. And it's creating all of this rim here on Jade's face and a bit on the cape here. And it's lighting up some of this foliage here, right? So that's light number 2. And then I have light number 3 right here, which is another gelled light, green. And that one's giving me this hint of rim right here and lighting up this foliage over here a little bit. And finally, light 4 is visible right here, way up in the air, down to create all of this super creepy, cool red light on Jade as the main light. So that's this setup here. That's a 4-light setup that I did in this. And I can actually show you where I shot that, because this was shot also, by the way, in the middle of the day at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon outside. So let me show you what it looks like in that space. Where I was shooting that is, here we go, right here. And you can see all of that greenery and foliage behind and that archway. And I was shooting in that space right there. Hey, Steve, just finished the steak dinner. That sounds delicious. Sadly, now we have to cut the yard. I just cut our yard, and it was also pretty much a jungle out there. So that needed some taming, and I did that the other day. But thankfully, I have a literal postage stamp yard, so it took me like 15 minutes to mow the lawn, which is great. Thank you, MJ. I'm really happy with how that photo turned out. Okay, so what I wanted to do is, I'm going to delete that. I wanted to do a comparison. So I'm just going to do as a file name rename so I know. This one came from Lightroom. And I'm going to edit this raw here in Affinity. And I kind of don't like the idea of doing this. Where's this photo? But I'm going to give it a try, and here's why. Oh, I know what I wanted to do first. See, this is the stuff that's so irritating to me, right? So because Adobe does its fucking shenanigans, it adds this whole ridiculous appendage onto this naming scheme right here, right? So rename, I got to delete all of this garbage off of the end of it because I just want the raw file name all by itself. So done. And now, and really that should be a capital P. I'm pretty sure. Let me go back and find that again. Here you can see it a little bit better too. The space before I got all the lighting and stuff dialed in. That obviously looks like trash because I didn't have everything set up. I found a college kid to cut my grass for a few bucks. That is nice. If I still had a bigger yard, I might consider that, but I have such a small yard that it doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, so a P8250225. P825 0. Where is that file? P825022. Oh God, Adobe, you're really starting to tick me off. Okay, export original files. P825. This is going to go. Oh, I know what I did. I'm going to put it into Affinity imports. That's where it's supposed to go. Hey, Mr. Noodle, how you doing, bud? Good to see you here. Okay, now I should actually be able to rename this the way I wanted to because I have the file in the right place. And rename and delete all the garbage Adobe adds. And I'm going to do an edit of this in Affinity's raw editor just to see if I want to switch over to maybe using that and only using Lightroom to organize my photos. Just because, like I said, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed that I can't export anything but a JPEG out of Affinity. Like, it just ticks me off, and I'm kind of over it right now. So that's why I'm thinking about and wanting to try this. So this is what we want to import here. And we're going to do a raw edit now. All right, so here we go. We're going to start with the basics. Exposure. Yeah, see, I already kind of don't like the way this looks. But let's give it a try anyway. Yeah, that's... Ugh. Contrast, I want to increase that. I want that drama. I want to take the shadows. I actually want to pull the shadows down a little bit. But I do want to do some highlight recovery. Not too much. I can tell you already I don't like this. I can tell you already. Hey, Brenda, how you doing? Mark, buddy. How are you, man? How's your weekend? Nah, I don't know how I'm feeling about this. I don't need CA. I don't need any of this. Detail. 10 amount. That looks horrible. I'm just taking a look through all of these. Okay, so let's just compare the two of these. All is good. Excellent. Glad to hear that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to copy this to the pasteboard, and I'm going to paste it into here. And pasteboard, paste. Okay, so now I can compare the two. This one came from Affinity. And let's take a look at them. So this is the Affinity, this is the Lightroom. This is the Affinity. This is the Lightroom. What do you guys think? I think Lightroom. Started selling some old crap I have hanging out on eBay. Already sold $120 worth of stuff. Dude, that's awesome. Like, what kind of stuff you selling? Old camera stuff or just, like, stuff in general? I've done that, but, man, I have had some bad luck with eBay. The last couple of times it was okay, but eBay is kind of a pain. For me, it's been anyway, so I don't like using eBay a ton. A bit of everything. Nice. Okay. So yeah, what are you guys thinking about this? This one is the Affinity. This one is the Lightroom. Affinity is definitely rendering the color a lot more orange rather than red. So the color looks truer. Also, the detail, I think, is a little uglier from Affinity's rendering. Yeah, I'm not feeling Affinity. Not feeling it. What do you guys think? So we're gonna do another test here, just for grins. So I'm gonna open up Pixelmator Photo. We're gonna try it in Pixelmator. So we're gonna do Browse, iCloud, Affinity, Imports, and we're gonna find this raw file again. Here we go. Let's take a look at this one here. Okay, so let's try the same process here. White balance we're not going to do. The red rendering is a lot better here. Ooh, that's horrible looking, right? The saturation, the color saturation here, the rendering of the colors here, I think is a bit much. Yeah, Mark moving to Olympus. That'd be funny. So I don't want to do too much highlight recovery because it just destroys any shape I have in her face there. So let's take a look at the shadows now. The shadows, we want to pull that down a little bit for that drama. That's all right. Okay, so now one of the things I'm thinking about here is the fact that I actually think the red, so I want more control over the color here. So I don't want selective color. I don't replace color. I don't want channel mixer, but I want like saturation of the individual colors, hue and saturation of the individual colors. Is that something that they have here in Pixelmator Photo? I don't know. I thought I did. Shadows, midtones, highlights. And I want to pick a particular color. Here we go, selective color. Okay, so we're gonna go with the reds here and pull down that saturation a little bit, because that's just too much. So let's go like minus 14 there. I don't want to go too far. That I think looks all right. Hello, Coach Easthart. How are you doing? You got your margarita? I got a glass of wine. Cheers to you. And everybody else. Selling an old Meyer Optic Gorlitz Primagon lens. What kind of lens is that? That sounds like an interesting lens. So what did you guys shoot at anything this weekend? Rum and Coke for now. That sounds good. Did you guys do any shooting this weekend? I got to hear if you guys shot anything. All right, so levels we're not going to do here. So that's before. That's after. I think I want to crush those blacks a little bit, but I can do that in Affinity, so I'm not even going to mess with that. Sepia fade, channel mixer, invert, vignette. I don't want to invert. Let's sharpen this up a little bit. 2.5, that's too many pixels. We'll go 1.5 pixels. And then let's take a look at the actual details here. Yeah, it's just a nice little bit of sharpening. Okay, so there's that one. That looks all right. So now we're going to export this. We're going to do an export. We're going to do a TIFF. We're going to do 16 bits for channel. This is the lens. Hey, Tim, how's it going, bud? Pictures for my grandson's birthday party. Excellent, Brenda. How did they turn out? Good, I hope. All right, choose how to send. Let's shoot that bad boy over to Affinity. So, whoops, we want to go to Pixelmator Photo, and we want to, can I share it to Affinity? Interesting, it won't let me share it to Affinity. That's curious. Send raw power. Interesting. All right, so we'll do it a save to files, and we'll put it into Affinity imports, and we'll do it that way. Hello, DJ Cool Bottoms Up Radio, California. What do you think of Capture One and Corel Paint Shop Pro? So Capture One, good. I don't like Capture One because I don't like the sort of workflow of Capture One, but that's a personal preference. That's not me saying it's bad. It's just different, and the workflow doesn't really fit me in my brain. Also now, because I do all of my editing on my iPad, Capture One for me is just out of the picture because they don't even have a mobile option available. But that being said, I think Capture One is really excellent. Obviously, Capture One is fabulous for tethering. And Capture One is good for organization. That's just where my brain doesn't work with Capture One. It's like the organization schema of Capture One doesn't work for me personally. And then the raw editing is really good. And there are many, many people who say that Capture One is better at editing raw files than, say, Lightroom as an example. And that, to me, you know, is a personal preference. You know, and I'm fine with Lightroom. I've compared Lightroom and Capture One. Different raw editors definitely produce different results. And for me, Capture One didn't produce anything meaningfully different from Lightroom. And for that reason, it doesn't work for me. But if it's something you're interested in and you're not happy with Lightroom or whatever it is you're using, Capture One is a very good option, and I'd highly recommend downloading their trial and giving it a try to see if it works for you. Because really what it boils down to is it's a matter of preference. It's a matter of figuring out which of these tools is going to work best for you. So if the one you're using isn't satisfying your needs, then investigate the other ones and find out which one does. Yes, Capture One for sure. Up in Canada, awesome. So not California, that's Canada. Gotcha. Cyberdoc, buddy, bro fist to all you guys. I'm not PewDiePie, but hey, bro fist, right? Brenda, are you using a Mac or a PC? Just to let you know, if you are using a Mac, do not update your Mac to the next version of the operating system, Catalina. This goes to anybody using Nikon software on a Mac, because as of right now, none of the Nikon software will be compatible with the new Mac operating system with Mac Catalina. Okay, then you're fine. You don't have to worry about this, Brenda. But any Mac users out there, do not update to Catalina if you're using Nikon software. Okay, so I have something here that I think I am happy with as far as an edit goes, and we did the export, so now let's go back to here. And we're going to import that one as well. So this one we got to do a place from photos, or from cloud rather. So go place from cloud. And do I have my brightness up all the way? I need better brightness now. And let's find that TIFF file. So where is it? Affinity imports. Where's my TIFF? Here it is, right here. Today at 6:16 p.m. Okay, so now I got to drag it in, and then I got to size it properly. So let's lock it, and it is 4608 on the long edge. Whoops, that's 05. 08, boom, and then we're going to put this at 0 and 0. So it is in the same place. Okay, so now let's compare these three and decide which one we like the best. Thank you. I have a D3400 camera with an 18-55 and a 7300. Excellent. That's a great camera. The D3400, fantastic. I'm guessing maybe you're here, DJ Cool, because you found some of my D3400 videos that I did, and I think that's a really solid camera. Excellent camera for the price that you pay for it. Okay, so we already know Affinity's out, so now it's a comparison of Affinity, Lightroom versus Pixelmator Photo. And you know what I think I'm gonna do? I think I'm gonna go with the Pixelmator Photo version. I'm kind of digging that one better. The red's not quite so intense. I could probably get that same look out of Lightroom, but we're gonna go with this. So we're actually going to delete the other two. We're actually gonna just delete this whole thing. So we're gonna dump this, close, yes, I'm sure. We're gonna dump this, close, yes, I'm sure. And we're gonna import from cloud, and we're gonna grab that TIFF file and get started. Spiros, if you're playing around with the new Capture 12 is nice, but like cataloging sessions. Yeah, I mean, like I've said, like I was saying earlier, I'm like fully invested in doing this on my iPad. I love working this way. So I'm not super interested in checking out Capture One on the desktop just because it's on the desktop. And again, I'm not trashing it. It's just not a place that I want to work anymore. I'm really invested in this method here. It's probably worth me downloading a trial and looking at it just for the purpose of sort of paying attention to what's happening with it. But, I mean, you know, it's a raw editor in the end, and I know that there's a lot you can do in it, but I don't think, you know what I mean? So, we'll see. I might check it out. Yeah, Cochise Heart, I'm with you. I prefer Lightroom over Capture One as far as the organizational scheme goes. But as far as Lightroom on the iPad goes, I've just expressed my frustration, so we'll leave that at that for now, at least. Okay, let's do some editing. So let's dump a pixel layer on there. Let's do some cleanup. Current layer and below. And one of the first things we got to do is get rid of the lights that you can see. So we'll just go bloop, bloop, and bloop. And I should probably get rid of, let's see, how do I want to do this? Because this is actually the butt end of my 80-200 right here. No, that's going to look ugly. So how should I get rid of that? Okay, so we're going to come down here, and I'm going to grab the lasso, and I'm just going to grab, first I'm going to grab a chunk of branch over here, so we're just going to go, bloop, and come back and duplicate that selection, and then we are going to deselect it and move that around. So I'm just going to move it over here and sort of get it into place. And now let's throw a filter on there and do a little bit of distortion, and we're just going to do a, where's my mesh warp? Here it is, mesh warp. Boom. Okay. So really I just need a tiny bit of warping. Just need to bring this down like that and apply. And bam. So I've got that sorted out. Whew. I'm warm. Probably this wine I'm drinking. Yes, DJ Cool, I can give you a link. Hey, Wayne, how you doing? Give me a second here to get these links and drop them into the chat. So, Affinity, I'm using Affinity Photo for iPad. Affinity does have a desktop version, depending upon whether or not you're on a desktop or an iPad. Photo. Let me just get the website up here. Here we go. Okay, so this is Affinity Photo. And again, I'm specifically using the iPad version. I do have the desktop version. I'm just not, I don't use the desktop version very much because I do most of my work here. Cochise Heart, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for the super chat. I very, 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 very much appreciate that. You are fantastic. You know that, Cochise Heart? You are absolutely fantastic. Cheers to you. And cheers to Mike Azinski, also one of my patrons. If you guys, since we're talking about this, thank you, Cochise. Since we're talking about it, if y'all, I like Magic the Gathering. If y'all want to support me, you can do that a couple of different ways. You can go to shp.photo/merch, and you can pick up some merch. I've got t-shirts, I've got phone cases, I've got stickers. The hoodie, my favorite, and it's about hoodie season, people. It's about hoodie season. So having yourself a sweet hoodie with get out there and take some damn photos, that would be some good news, right? So you can pick up some merch there if you want. Also, if you wanted to be extra awesome, you could be a patron like Mike is, and a number of other folks are, like Drew and another Michael and PM, and I can't think of everybody else. But you could join my Patreon and support me on a regular basis, which is also fantastic. And if you can't support me any of those ways, which I totally get because sometimes the money's tight, I get that, right? Then sharing what I do, sharing my videos, sharing my live streams, letting people know about this, also super, super helpful. So thank you so much, everybody that supports me in all of the ways that you do. And thank you again, Coach Cheeseheart, for that super chat. That is incredibly appreciated. That means a lot to me. Yeah, the hoodies are amazing. I love it. Like, in fact, like, here's mine in the drawer. I got mine with the white text. I'm just waiting for the weather to be a little bit colder, and then I'm going to start wearing this bad boy because hoodie season, yeah, I love a hoodie. All right, so Affinity Photo. Oh, my fingers? I'll explain what I did to my fingers in just a second, MJ. Let me put the other link in. So, DJ Cool, I put the link in for Affinity Photo. The other link to what I'm using is Lightroom. Specifically, I'm using Lightroom CC for iPad. And I'm about to, let me find the proper link for that. Yeah, this is the link for Lightroom. Hey, Sandy, how are you? I'm a Street Fighter in my spare time. Probably typing too fast, right? And when I type too fast, my typing is awful too, by the way, Mark. I am not good at typing fast. Adobe Lightroom CC. So this is the other piece of software that I've used. Although the one that I was just testing out for iPad that you might be interested in is called Pixelmator Photo. So let me grab a link to that as well. Because in many ways, Pixelmator Photo is better than Lightroom. In other ways, it's not, and this is on iPad. So it's frustrating to me because it's not, it's not what I'd like it to be. But anyway, these are some of the things that I'm using. So we've got that branch in there to fix that bit of my light being in the way. So now we need to also fix up the butt end covering up that piece. So we're going to come over here, lasso again, and I'm just going to grab a big old chunk, bigger than I need, and we're going to duplicate that selection, and then we're going to take that and move it on up. Hey, Drew, how you doing, buddy? Team No Edit in the house. DJ Cool, thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate you hopping onto the stream. I'm always happy to answer questions on the streams, so feel free to join and ask questions anytime about anything. I'm hanging out and I'm editing, and we like just talk about what we want to talk about, whatever it happens to be. So thank you very much for popping in. I hope you hang around a little bit, because that would be fantastic. Okay, so this just needs to come up. I'm going to change the opacity on this so I can place it a little bit better. Drew, buddy, how was your weekend? And how did you weather the storm? Everything is okay, I hope. Everything is well, I trust. Seems like you must have been okay since you're here on the stream, and I'm very happy to hear that the hurricane seems to have not done you in, so as it were. Frank, buddy, how you doing? Frank, I think I have to message you back about something. So I'm apologizing right now for not having messaged back yet, but I know I need to message you back, so I will. Overwatch Mercy, hey, how you doing? I was gonna say something else and I forgot. Oh, my finger. Okay, so I have two separate injuries to my finger because I'm a klutz sometimes. And here's what happened. Still waiting for Speedos. Okay, Cochise. That sounds a little bit dangerous though. So here's what I did. So this injury right here under this Band-Aid, what I was doing was using a 4-inch grinder, and cleaning off our front porch steps, which were covered in paint. And the paint was peeling and just looked like garbage, and I wanted to get rid of it. So I was using a 4-inch grinder to grind off the paint and clean off the steps so they looked nice. And I was doing something, I don't know what, and I had gloves on while I was doing this, which helped. But I like bounced the grinder off of my knuckle, so I took a chunk of skin out of my knuckle with the grinder. So that was that injury. And then this injury was super stupid because my wife and I were out doing a little bit of foraging. My wife is an herbalist, and we were foraging, and I was cutting some sumac from some sumac trees. And I had the chunk of sumac in the branch down, and I had my finger, this finger back behind, and then I took the scissors to cut, and I cut my finger, like cut it into my finger with the scissors, and it was a bleeder. So that's what my bandages here are for. So totally minor injuries, and just me being a klutz is really what it boils down to. I wasn't drinking while I was doing either of these things, by the way. I was totally sober, and in theory, in full control of my mental and physical faculties. Yeah, okay, well, I gotta check my messages and see what it was. Drew says, we're good over here, prepped, but rather over-prepped than under. Yeah, absolutely. It's better to be over-prepped than under-prepped. I totally agree with that. Only lost internet as far as damage went, so I got a day off from the regular job. Nice. That's not bad at all. I'm glad to hear that it sounds like by all accounts it was pretty minor and it didn't really have much of an effect in your area, which is great. Yeah, I should just say I got into a bar fight, but I'm not a fighter, you know what I mean? Like, I'll fight if I have to fight. Like, if I'm in a position where I got to fight to defend myself or something, I'll throw down. But, like, I would just as soon not fight if I don't have to. Yeah, at least it wasn't my editing hand, that's for sure. Let's see, DJ Cool, I just started selling dog show photography. I'm a beginner, but been told I did a great job on a black dog photo, better than the photographer did her dog before that was a pro. That is fantastic. Keep it up. It sounds like you found yourself a niche that you can work into, and that's great. So keep pursuing that and just keep practicing and learning, and you'll do great. Like, you'll do great. And I'll say this, what I would highly, highly recommend, DJ Cool, is as soon as you feel ready, start learning flash photography as well, because the flash photography is going to help you take even better pet photos, dog photos, than you are already taking. Because when you can control the light, things get really fantastic. So you need to really know your camera, particularly manual mode, before you start throwing the flash into the situation. But start planning and prepping yourself to learn flash. I promise you, you will not regret it. Yeah, I definitely got to be careful with my fingers. Well, here's the thing, though. This isn't my shutter finger either, so that's a good thing, right? This is my shutter finger right here. So, all things considered, it happened to the best finger it could probably happen to, since I'm a righty, and so I do all of the heavy lifting, so to speak, with my right hand. But you're right, I got to be careful. Okay. So let's actually do a little bit more editing here, right? So this we need to place, and that looks pretty good right there, honestly. Yeah, that'll look good right there. So let's pop that opacity back up. And then we're going to throw a mask on that one and just cover up the stuff that I don't need from it. So black, we're going to drop that hardness down. We're going to pull up the width of the brush, and we're going to get rid of most of the excess here, because really what we want is just to cover up the butt end of my light. So that looks pretty darn good. I just got a little bitty spot right here that I need to fix up. So we're going to come in here and we're going to use, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, so this spot right here is just a tiny bit off, so that's okay, because a little bit of healing In painting brush will fix that right up for us. So little hit right there, and a little hit right there, and look at that, we're golden. How's that, right? And we're just gonna hit that as well. Boom, fixed it up. Check that out, right? So this, we'll group that up. That's our background cleanup. That, and now the light's gone. Bada bing, bada boom, right? Is that how we say it? What's October 12th? I feel like a dummy because I don't know what's even happening on October 12th, Frank. I'm guessing it's My Hero Academia Season 4, but I'm not 100% sure about that. I'm just guessing based on our common interest there. So you have to tell me what's happening on October 12th. And maybe, yes, okay, you know what? I'm marking my calendar right now because I am now officially excited for October 12th. Let's see, September, October 12th, and I'm putting MHA Season 4. Yes. I'm very excited about that. I still need to watch the movie, though. I need to watch the movie. What do you think about some constantly saying DSLR is dead? Love my DSLR. I think it's stupid, people saying DSLR is dead, right? Like, it's sensationalist. People got to say it because we got to get the clicks, right? We got to get the video views, got to get the clicks, got to be all sensationalist. DSLRs are dead, right? Like, that's just dumb. People are going to keep shooting DSLRs. Here's my thought, and here's what's going to happen, right? We are at a transitional point, and we are going to see a shift where mirrorless is going to be the dominant format, and DSLRs are going to not be the main type of camera people use. That is going to happen. I have no doubt about that. Are DSLRs dead? No. Not by any stretch of the imagination. Are we going to see fewer DSLRs and more mirrorless cameras? Absolutely. And how that's going to shake out remains to be seen. It's really going to depend upon two things. Number one, it's going to depend upon the DSLR makers' willingness to keep investing in these legacy systems that already exist, and they're going to respond to the consumers, to what people buy or don't buy. So, like, Nikon's about to announce the D6, their flagship DSLR, and that typically sets the tone for their whole line of cameras, their whole line of DSLRs. And we'll see what happens. DSLRs are not going away. They are going to diminish in prominence and become the secondary format rather than being the principal format. But I don't see them going away at all, and I fully expect to continue to see people shooting DSLRs. And who knows, maybe I'll end up with a DSLR again someday. I've actually been considering, I'm not switching systems, but I've been thinking about, like, there's a teeny tiny part of me, there's like a tiniest part of me that kind of wants to try shooting a full frame camera for a while, for like an extended period, only because I've never worked with a full frame camera on a long-term basis. I've shot full frame cameras, but I've never had one for an extended period of time to shoot with it, to see what the files look like, to see how much I like them, to see how much I like the experience. I love my Micro Four Thirds camera, so I'm not switching, but I kind of want to try a full frame for an extended period of time just to see what it's like. So, have you considered using typography in any of your work? I have, but honestly, like, as much as I am a photographer and an artist in this, and as a photographer, we definitely have some design-oriented thought processes and systems in what we do here, but I'm not real good with typography, and I have done a little bit of stuff with typography. As an example, right? Let me show you something that I've done with typography. Files. And this is not even super creative on my part as far as typography goes, because I didn't create the typography. I copied the typography. It's with Noel, and it is a Harley Quinn that we shot here. So I added this, and I did create this typography. I didn't just, like, this isn't an image. These are, I actually created the typography, created the red letters and whatnot. But I'm not I'm not good at topography, so I don't use it a lot because I don't think I can use it very well, and that's a weakness of mine. Get the K1. Yeah, I mean, you know, I've kind of been thinking about it. Let's see, DJ Cool, I have a Speedlight 900. Okay, and I have a backdrop stand, one green and one gray and a black one. Excellent. Okay, that's good. That's good. Work with that and learn that stuff. Yeah, tape a few bricks to the bottom of a good full frame simulator. Mike, that's perfect. That's perfect. Here's what I would probably want to try though, because when I was at ClickCon in Chicago, I went over to the Nikon booth and I was just messing around and talking to the guys there and checking out I think it was the Z6. And they had a Z6 there, and I'm really impressed with the lightness of that body. And it's full frame, so my next question was, what are the lenses like? And so I asked him if I could check it out with a 24-70 on there, the 24-70 f2.8. And he put it on there, and I gotta tell you, that was a light kit. Very light kit. I was shocked at how light that 24-70 millimeter f2.8 lens is. So I'm kind of intrigued by it. I'm curious to see what the 70-200 is like, because that is typically a monster lens and weighs often, you know, several pounds. But I'm intrigued by that system. And I'm also intrigued by the EOS, the Canon EOS RP, because I think that's a no-brainer for a certain segment of photographers, $1,000 full-frame mirrorless camera. I think it's great. Hey, Jason2M, dude, how you doing? Good to see you. Let's see. Drew says, get your hands on the RP. I need to get one, but I don't have access. Overwatch Mercy. I wish I did, but I don't. I know for me, it gives me great joy to get the picture right in a DSLR because I don't have a preview like you would in a mirrorless. It also shows my growth in understanding the exposure triangle. Absolutely. Yeah, that's absolutely right. And I feel the same way. Now, I have mirrorless, but because I shoot so much flash, I don't have a live preview either, because when you're shooting with flash, you don't get a live preview. You just see, I have my viewfinder on my Olympus set so that it does not give me an exposure preview, because when I'm working with flash, it was giving me exposure preview. When I would look through the viewfinder, I wouldn't be able to see and frame my photograph because it would show me a black frame. So I have exposure preview turned off so I can actually see and frame my shot. And then of course the lighting from my flashes is actually what lights the shot up for me. So I feel the exact same way. A good friend of mine was just at that crossroad that opted to go DSLR due to the glass investment. That alone, exactly, that's another really good point with that, Drew. Just having all of those lenses out there and having people who are using those lenses, they're going to stick with DSLRs for that reason. Now, I don't remember who's doing this, but this to me is going to be the no-brainer move. And if somebody does this, Canon has come close with the EOS RP, I think. EOS RP. Let me look, because I think it's the RP that's doing this, but I have to look and see. Get product support. I thought one of them, okay, so I can't find it, but whatever. Here's what I think is the best way to get a whole bunch of photographers to very quickly adopt your mirrorless camera. Okay? And I can't believe Sony didn't do this, even though Sony still has crushed it. I can't believe Nikon and I can't believe Canon have not figured this out. It's just, to me, this is the most obvious thing to do, which is to sell those mirrorless cameras by default with an adapter in the box, right? So let's say you're a Canon shooter, DSLR, you've got a huge library of lenses, all of those are EOS EF mount, whatever the heck the mount's called, EF. Yeah, all of these are EF mount lenses, right? So you've got like Cochise Hart, right? How many lenses do you have, Cochise Hart? Let's say you've got 5 lenses, right? And you're intrigued by this mirrorless situation, but you've got 5 amazing lenses that you spent how many thousands of dollars on over how many years, and you don't want to change those around, right? So, right, 5L lenses, right? You don't want to buy 5R lenses. So why the hell don't they just put an adapter in the box? Raise the price $100 or $50, right? Take a little bit of a loss on the adapter and put the fucking adapter in the box. So it is a no-brainer, easy peasy, put on an adapter and use your existing library of lenses. I do not understand why none of these camera manufacturers have not done that. They all have adapters you can buy, and they're going to charge you whatever, $100 or $200 for it. Throw it in the box. It's just so stupid that they don't. Anyway, yeah, okay, that's the one I'm thinking of, Sandy, and that's, to me, the smartest thing in the world. Smartest thing in the world. I was wondering with the Nikon, right? 5D replacement. Talk about Canon releasing a camera which is best of both worlds, DSLR and mirrorless. Okay, so I have no idea. I know nothing about this particular lens, this hybrid thing that we're talking about here. But, I mean, if you think about it, DSLRs with live view are already hybrids, right? So the traditional view is using the mirror box, using the traditional DSLR view. And when you pop it into live view, you're using it as a mirrorless camera. The mirror pops up, you're using the sensor's live feed in order to frame and shoot your photos or your videos. So DSLRs already have both options. So whatever Canon is doing is, you know, I don't know. I literally know nothing about it. I haven't heard anything about it. I haven't been paying attention, so I'll have to look it up. But to me, you know, this hybrid seems gimmicky based on just hearing about it and knowing nothing else. And that's literally just an off-the-cuff, completely uninformed reaction to the idea of a hybrid. So take that with heaps of salt. Pretty sure Z includes the adapter. I'm not sure about that. For limited time, the RP came with the adapter. I thought that's what it was. I thought it was the RP. I worry about weather sealing on mirrorless. I shoot outdoors most of the time here in Utah. Yeah, that's an important thing. I mean, those mirrorless cameras can be weather sealed well, right? Like my Olympus is really nicely sealed. They do a really good job with them. So I don't think that's a difficult challenge. I do know that with mirrorless, because you have a shorter flange distance, your sensor is a little bit more exposed when you're changing your lens. But if you change your lens thoughtfully and carefully, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Maybe you got to clean your sensor, you know, maybe, you know, twice as often as you clean your regular, you know, your DSLR sensor. Not the worst thing in the world, in my opinion. But, yeah. I'm looking at a 200 to 500 millimeter lens. That's a monster of a lens, DJ Cool. How come you're thinking about getting that? Here's the thing, if you're a beginner, I caution against buying bunches of lenses, and here's why. And I went through this, so I'm speaking from my personal experience and from the experience of many other photographers that I've seen, which is that we get gear, we get a camera, we start with a kit, whatever it is. Maybe you start with just the 18 to 55. You mentioned you have the 18 to 55 and the 70 to 300, right? And then you get excited about photography. You think, oh, I need a new lens. Oh, I need a bigger zoom lens. Oh, I need this. Oh, I need that. I caution you against that. I caution you against spending lots of money on other stuff, because until you kind of get your feet under you as a photographer and understand the capabilities and the limitations of your gear and your needs as a photographer, if you just buy without understanding those things, you're going to end up spending and wasting money on stuff that you won't use. So clearly, like, if you want the lens and you decide you're going to buy it, then buy the lens. But just be very careful and very thoughtful about it, because if you just think you need that lens because you need a super long zoom lens and you don't really know, and you just think you want it because you want it, I would say don't. I would say wait. But if you know you need that lens for something, then get it. That's fine, right? Like, I'm not trying to keep you from buying a thing you need, but just be careful and think about it. Yeah, it's like a bazooka lens for sure. I see that hybrid thing, and it looks freakish when you attach it. Discrete street photography is out the window. Let's look this thing up. Clearly, I'm not getting any editing done, so let's look this thing up. Hey, there's my Patreon again. If you guys want to join my Patreon, it's right there. Woo, patreon.com/Henniatis. Canon hybrid camera. I don't even know what this thing is. Do you guys know what this thing is called? What I should look for? Yeah, see, Mike, that's a great... Thank you, Mike, for pointing that out. DJ Cool, that's a thing that is absolutely worth doing, is renting before you buy. Yes, you're going to invest, maybe $100 in the rental of that lens, but that could potentially save you hundreds or thousands of dollars. And if you have like a specific case where you just need it for like a little bit of use, just renting it is a better idea because you have that one-time fee and then you return it and then you haven't sunk in a bunch of money if it's a thing you're not going to use all the time. Team No Edit, right? How's the adjustment to electronic viewfinder on mirrorless? Can you explain what you mean by that, Cochise Heart? Closer shots from far in ring for dog photos. Okay, gotcha. See, you've got a specific use case. That makes perfect sense. I get it. That's great. Get the lens if that's what you need it for then. And that's good. You know what you need it for. That's good. I always make that point. I always want to make that cautionary point to newer photographers because it's so easy to spend money on things in photography, and we need to be careful about that. I do not print my own photos. I used to, and it was just too much of a headache trying to color manage it and dealing with the ink and having space for the printer and keeping paper stock. So I just stopped. And I use labs. Canon. Where did it go? Canon mirrorless DSLR combo. Canon, let's look that up and see what we find. Canon mirrorless DSLR combo. Let's see what this brings up. EOS R. I'm not finding it, guys. Canon mirrorless DSLR hybrid, maybe? I'm not finding anything. If anybody has a lead or a link on this, pop it over to me wherever you can and tell me where you popped it over and we'll take a look at it. Team No Edit. Let's see. Did I miss anything else? Does the flange distance have any effect on the bokeh? Good question. No, it doesn't. It really doesn't, because what has an effect on the bokeh is your focal length, your subject camera distance, and your aperture. So the flange distance doesn't really make any difference, because with the flange distance, the thing that's more important is making sure that the lens is able to focus, just in general. But it's not really going to have any effect on the bokeh. At least not to my knowledge, and I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. I'm pretty sure the flange distance has no effect on the bokeh. Great idea for wildlife, but only if you're earning income. Yeah. I seen a diagram on Facebook a few days ago. I don't think I had a link. Okay, yeah, I haven't seen anything. I'm sorry, I can't find anything about it. All right. Another thing to watch, as it happened to me, that once you have a big lens or a white Canon, some places get annoying claiming you're a full pro when you're not. Yeah, that's a thing that is kind of frustrating, is these places who will see what looks like a professional camera, which is arbitrary, and they'll bar you from bringing it in because you're clearly a pro because you have a professional camera and you can't take photos here. That's annoying. So sometimes you can't do anything about that, but it is what it is, and that is a thing that's worth being aware of. And that's a thing that actually can be mitigated by using like a mirrorless camera. Not a mirrorless, like a Micro Four Thirds, because it's a smaller system in general. So that can help. Yeah, the X Pro 2 is like is a hybrid because it has that optical digital hybrid viewfinder. I've never used one. I've played around with one a little bit, so I have used one, but not for a long term. And I know a lot of people love that. I'm not a huge fan of the rangefinder layout. And again, this is personal preference, so I'm not trashing it. I'm not saying it's bad. But I like the DSLR layout a little bit better, an ergonomic sort of look and style. And so for me, rangefinder, I don't like that. I don't like the viewfinder all the way over on the one edge. I don't like how it just, for me, I don't like how it works. But again, personal preference there. On Petapixel, okay, let's take a look at Petapixel real quick. Oh gosh, it's almost 7 o'clock, gang. Also, I rent a lens for a job that needed it, and then I add it to my price, right? So then it's not even out of pocket. It's just part of the business expense, and your client covers it for you, so you don't even have to. You're not even eating the cost, right? It's just part of what they're paying for, and that's another great thing. So that's a thing you could do if you don't want to buy it, but. For your situation, DJ Cool, it probably sounds like it'd be a smart thing to buy it, because if you're going to be shooting dog events a lot, then you're going to need that lens a lot, and it makes sense to purchase. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Vizio made yada yada, Leica yada blah blah, leak blah 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 blah. DSLRs aren't dead. Yeah, see, here we go. Like sensationalist bullshit right here. Like, they're not dead. They're not even on life support. It's just a transitional period. DSLRs are going to diminish. They're not going to go away, but they're going to become a smaller portion of the market. That's what's going to happen. It's natural. Whoops. Aspherical lens elements, blah, 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 yada, yada. How to capture comprehensive dark table. Here we go. A mirrorless to DSLR converter. Oh my goodness. Let's take a look at this. First, they claim the Canon release a 1DX level ESR in 2021, yada yada, working on some sort of converter that can turn a mirrorless camera into a DSLR. Report was published, blah, 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 yada yada. Said that blah, blah, blah. Prototype is already in existence. Confirmed that it would be classified to the same professional model as the ES. It seems Canon is a converter that can transform mirrorless to DSLR in a sense period. We're also developing a converter that can join a mirrorless camera to an interchangeable lens for a single lens reflex camera. You know, so here's what I think. Yeah, exactly. They're still around but not used a lot. Here's what I think. It seems to me that what Canon is kind of thinking about is sort of how medium format cameras mostly work, and even how cinema cameras work, right? So as an example, let me show you guys something. Red cinema camera. Cinema camera. Here we go, okay? So when you purchase a red cinema camera, right? Like this right here. Okay, this is what you get. This isn't even a camera. I mean, it is a camera. But what you basically get is the sensor in a box. And then you add the accessories that you want to make this the camera that you want. And lots of medium format cameras are the same way, right? So like you can get a medium format camera. Let's take a look at Mamiya 645, right? I'll show you what I'm talking about. See if I can find the base sort of Mamiya. Here we go right here. Do you see this right here? This is a Mamiya camera. All you get is the box itself that holds the... This is a... I don't know if this is a film or a digital, but the box, the image capture device, and you add your viewfinder style. So you can add a DSLR style viewfinder, you can add a waist level viewfinder, you can add a live viewfinder, you add the grip that you want to it, then you add the lens that you want to it. That seems like what Canon is kind of doing with this hybrid thingamajobber, this converter thing. They're sort of thinking about the mirrorless body as like the base camera box, and then you accessorize it to turn it into the camera that you want to use. Maybe it's mirrorless, maybe it's not mirrorless, you know, and that's how it works. So that is very clearly going to be a niche market. It is not going to be something that like is going to be, it's not going to be something you're going to see in like the sort of quote unquote consumer level cameras, like the entry level, like a D3400 is an example, right? Or a Rebel is like an entry level DSLR. The EOS M line is like the entry level Canon mirrorless. You're not going to see that come to that line, at least not for a very long time until it gets super cheap to produce. But I can see that as an option for photographers who have specific needs and want to be able to do this sort of thing. So this is like going to be a high-end, expensive thing that fits a very small niche market, if they even make it. So that's what I think. Yeah, like a Hasselblad is modular. Exactly, Mr. Noodle. That's exactly it. Yeah, like a Phase 1, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And that's what it seems like to me. So I don't think it's gimmicky as much as it's just super niche. And that's kind of how I see it. Okay, it's 7:02. I'm going to wrap this bad boy up. And so, first of all, like hashtag Team No Edit. Another successful night of not getting any editing done. Got to start, so that's something. Camera manufacturers are off the rockers. Yeah, I mean, sometimes they are. They do some of the dumbest stuff. Like, as an example, right? Like, I do not understand what is wrong with Pentax. Pentax has such potential to dominate the market, and yet they somehow seem to just stumble along and kind of, you know, I don't know, they just don't capture market. They don't get mind share. They make great cameras, and yet they're constantly sort of, you know, just there with a teeny tiny segment of the market doing, you know, interesting stuff, but not really getting anywhere. And it's disappointing because they could have great mind and market share, but they just can't seem to figure out how to do that. And maybe it's because Ricoh doesn't give them the budget to do it. I don't know. But yeah, sometimes they're off their rockers, for sure. A real win here for the No Edit team. You are absolutely right, Drew. Absolutely right. So, before I wrap up real quick, I just want to say, again, if you would like to support me in what I do, you can do so a few different ways. Let me back up all of the backing up. Bloop, 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 bloop. Here we go, Patreon. So you can go to shp.photo/merch. Hey! Hey! Cobra Flash Modifier is here in the house. You guys should check out the Cobra Flash Modifier. It's a nice kit. It's like a mag mod, but in my opinion, I like it better because of the compact size, and I love it for gels. It's really cool. So check out Cobra. Good stuff. Check out their YouTube channel and their website if you need a on-camera flash modifier. It's really fantastic. Works off camera too. Yeah. So this is embarrassing, but I don't even know what image I put up on Instagram today. Let me see. Because I use a scheduling thing to schedule up my Instagram stuff. So this is all upside down. Oh, this one. Yeah, I love this photo. This is yeah. This is Haley Grace. She's fantastic. This was a super fun photo shoot. So yeah, that's what I got going up on Instagram right now. Hey, Edith, you popped in just in time for the wrap-up. I was just closing it up. But I'm glad to see you here. Hello. I hope you're doing all right. Are you still thinking about switching? Are you switching to Sony, Edith, or are you just thinking about supplementing with Sony? Okay. Whew. I got to wrap this up. So, cheers to everybody. I was saying if you want to help me out, I'd appreciate it. You can visit shp.photo/merch. You can head over to my Patreon at patreon.com/Henyatus. You can pitch me a super chat if you want, like Cochise Heart did. I want to say thank you to everybody for hanging out with me, for all of your support, for everything that you guys do. It's amazing. Share my stuff if you want to share it. I love that. It's super helpful. But you guys are great. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Hello, Andre, and goodbye. Hello, Overwatch. Thank you so much. Not switching. Lighter camera. Excellent. Okay, cool. Good night. Have a great night, everybody. I will catch you Wednesday. Check my channel Wednesday afternoon/evening. I'm thinking about trying a thing. So check my channel Wednesday for another live stream, okay? Otherwise, have a wonderful, wonderful night. Jazz fingers, you are very welcome. Bye.